A boy who couldn't speak a word until age 4. Mocked, doubted, dismissed. Yet he became the greatest mind of our time. This is Albert Einstein's untold story. In a small house in Ulm, Germany, a boy sat quietly, his eyes wide with wonder, but his lips sealed shut. It was 1883, and 4-year-old Albert Einstein hadn't spoken a single word. His parents, Hermann and Pauline, watched him with growing fear. Other children his age babbled, laughed and sang, but Albert remained silent, lost in a world no one could reach. The family's maid whispered cruel words, calling him stupid and slow. Neighbours shook their heads, pitying the boy who seemed destined to fail. Doctors offered no answers, only vague guesses about his mind. Perhaps he'll never speak, one said, his voice heavy with doubt. Hermann, a struggling businessman, felt the weight of shame. Pauline, a gentle mother, held her son close, her heart breaking each time he stared at her, wordless. Yet, in those silent moments, Albert's eyes sparkled with curiosity. He watched the world differently, marveling at the dance of light on a river, the slow tick of a clock, the invisible forces that made a compass needle spin. While others saw a broken child, Albert was already chasing questions no one else dared to ask. At age 5, he finally spoke. His first words were simple, halting, but they carried a spark of something extraordinary. "The soup is too hot," he said, surprising his parents. From that moment, words began to flow, but they came slowly, carefully, as if he were crafting each sentence in his mind before letting it escape. Classmates mocked his strange speech, calling him the odd one. Teachers grew frustrated, labeling him lazy because he struggled with rote learning. "You'll never amount to anything," one teacher snapped, tired of Albert's endless questions about why the sky was blue or how gravity worked. School felt like a prison. Rules suffocated him. He hated memorizing facts without understanding their meaning. By age 15, Albert was failing classes, his grades a mess of disappointment. His father's business collapsed, forcing the family to move to Italy, leaving Albert behind in Munich to finish school. Alone, he felt abandoned, trapped in a system that didn't understand him. Depression crept in, a heavy fog that made every day feel pointless. One night, staring at the stars, he wondered if he was as worthless as his teachers claimed. But something inside Albert refused to break. He found solace in books, mathematics, physics, philosophy. These weren't just subjects, they were lifelines. At 16, he dropped out of school, defying his father's wishes, and rejoined his family in Italy. Free from rigid classrooms, his mind soared. He devoured complex ideas, teaching himself calculus and exploring the mysteries of light and time. Yet, the world still saw him as a failure. No university wanted a dropout with poor grades. No employer saw value in a boy who questioned everything. At 17, Albert faced a crossroads. He applied to the Swiss Federal Polytechnic in Zurich, but failed the entrance exam. The rejection stung, a reminder of every insult he'd endured. But the school's director saw something in his math scores, a flicker of brilliance. He gave Albert a chance to study for a year and try again. Albert worked tirelessly, not for grades, but for the joy of discovery. He passed the exam and entered the Polytechnic. But even there, professors dismissed him as arrogant for challenging their ideas. After graduating, Albert faced a new struggle: unemployment. For 2 years, he searched for work, his dreams of becoming a physicist fading. He took odd jobs, tutoring children to survive. In 1902, a friend's father offered him a low-paying job as a patent clerk in Bern, Switzerland. It was humble work, far from the academic world he longed for. Sitting at a desk, reviewing endless patent applications, Albert could have given up. But he didn't. That small office became his sanctuary. In the quiet moments between tasks, he scribbled equations on scraps of paper, chasing ideas that danced in his mind. Then, in 1905, everything changed. At age 26, Albert published 4 papers that shook the foundations of science. One introduced the theory of relativity. Another explained the photoelectric effect, which would later win him the Nobel Prize. The world took notice. The silent boy, the dropout, the clerk. No one could ignore him now. Universities invited him to speak. Scientists debated his ideas. By 1919, when his theory of relativity was proven during a solar eclipse, Albert Einstein became a global icon. But success didn't erase the pain of his past. Albert carried the scars of being misunderstood, of being called slow and useless. He once said, "A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new." Those words came from a man who knew failure intimately, who had been doubted by everyone but himself. His genius wasn't born in a classroom or a laboratory. It was forged in the fire of rejection, loneliness, and relentless curiosity. Albert's life wasn't perfect. He faced personal struggles, failed marriages, strained relationships with his children, and the burden of fame. But he never stopped asking questions. He never stopped believing that the universe held answers worth finding. From a silent boy to a Nobel Prize winner, his journey teaches us that greatness isn't about fitting in. It's about daring to see the world differently, even when no one else believes in you. Your struggles don't define your future. Your courage does. Albert Einstein's story shows us that the world may doubt you, mock you, or push you aside. But if you hold on to your passion and keep moving forward, you can change not just your life, but the world. The greatest minds are often the ones others misunderstand. Believe in yourself, even when no one else does, and let your unique vision light the way.